far anyway. The rain has been torrential. I've just decided I'm just going to quickly try and see if I can get have half a bottle of wine and a steak in the rain, because there's no way I'm getting my hammock up in this, because the place I found was absolutely sodden and it was chucking down at the time, so it was eased off. I think rather than just sit in the car and watch a film, I'm going to try and get some food on at least. Well, that was it. It was now raining, but I had all sorts. I had mushrooms, I had some little bits of potato, I had some noodles, all sorts. So it was going to be a great epic meal down by the lake, but that hasn't worked out. I'm glad I couldn't be asked getting all the get the hammock up in this. It's just chucking it down. It's mud everywhere. I've had a perfect little 10-15 minute break to get out there, cook up my steak, so that's all sorted, and then the rest of it I'll just have it in the morning. I'm really hoping tomorrow morning will just be a nice day and I can show you around this place. But the reservoir has really dried out, and actually the reservoir has dried out so much down to the original. You can see the original river which runs down through the valley, and you can see a stone bridge that goes across the river that has been completely submerged a whole lot by the reservoir. And there's also a house back there. I'll show you I'll flash up a picture of it, which must be, I don't know, 50-60 feet down, or would normally be 60 or 50 feet below the reservoir level. Anyway, I'll see you in the morning, and hopefully I can show you what this place looks like. Well, first morning of my Mancation, which hasn't really gone to plan, I've got to be honest. It started off as 5 days, was going to be into the Netherlands or Scotland biking. That then collapsed into 3 days now, and one of those days I've got to be down near my dad's in South Wales because I've got to go and help him out. So it hasn't really gone quite to plan. I'm in a place called the Llyn Brian Reservoir. It's on the Cambrian mountain range, and it's very picturesque, particularly in the summer. They've chopped down a lot of the wood around here. It's looking quite bare, and the river is, as you've seen, the reservoir's just gone. I mean, it's just a bit of a river, really. Night one hasn't gone particularly well, in that my plan for the hammock by the river hasn't worked out. So the other two things I want to do is a tent camp by the side of a lake in a mountainous area, and a bivvy camp on top of a mountain. So I've got 2 nights left. I've screwed up one of them, and I'm going to see what I can pull out of the hat. What a brilliant spot. However, it was a local showed me down here yesterday, and that used to be a bench. That's the snag. And that's the snag with people coming wild camping, is that they don't follow the rules, they don't know the rules. It's just lack of education, I suppose. But that was a nice bench apparently there. There we go. But you know, you could get a little tent in here. You've got an amazing view. Yeah, you could have there's a fire pit of sorts there. That doesn't worry me too much, as long as it's there's no rubbish. Rubbish is the one thing that hacks me right off, and burning stuff that doesn't need to be burnt when you're next to a forest and there's lots of dead pine in there. I've probably spent, I reckon, about 15 nights wild camping, car camping around this area, the Cumbrian Mountains, and Llyn Brian is one of my favourites. Just beautiful and quiet, and it is quiet during the week. Amazing place to come wild camping. Great. Right, hit the road. Right. But yeah, I mean, you could wild camp here with a bivvy, and you know you're a hammocker when you look at every pair of trees and you measure the distance between them in your head and think, what a shame, what a shame. If only those two trees were a little bit further apart. Maybe I could rig something. Oh my god, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? You need a really short hammock for that. Right, we're just about here. We're going to head up into the Black Mountain Range, round the back here, down and back. About 9 miles. It's pretty bloody windy. Anyway, I changed my mind. I decided to go for up the mountain. There's a lake up here. I decided to just carry 2 days worth of food. I've got a bivvy and a tent, but they're both fairly lightweight. I went for the lighter weight bivvy in the end. The Corinthia is the dogs, but it's a bit heavy for hiking really. So Rab Ascent, and then the Copper Spur UL2, and I feel a little bit nervous about it because although I did this as a kid, well, as 15, 16, I was walking on my own, doing mountains up Penyvan in bad weather and all sorts, but I bivvied a few times, well, quite a few times actually, but I haven't done it for so long that, you know, I'm a little bit unsure. But that's the whole point of coming out and doing these things. Not sure about a tent tonight. I think it might be a bivvy. We'll see. Too much gear. Pack your fears. So you got the choice of going around the outside, around the hillside itself, or you can just cut straight across. But it looks a bit boring, so come this way. And this looks a little bit narrow. Well, I'm sure it'll be okay, and it's only 20 past 3, so I don't need to get there until 5. I was planning. I don't reckon you need to filter that water. I don't reckon you need to filter any of this. That has come straight down off the mountain, unless there's a dead sheep up there, but I doubt it. If you go bike packing particularly, I'm always looking for camping options on the way. So just down there, flat bit of land, sheltered from the wind. It's a southerly wind. We're on the north side of this hillside, so that'll be really nice and sheltered tonight, and you got a water supply, so that's a pretty groovy spot. If for any reason I couldn't get around there, or that wasn't suitable, or there's nowhere else suitable, so I think it's always worth looking for those secondary options. So it's good to get back into it. Although, like I say, I think I've packed too much gear. You pack your fears, but I think if you're a little bit unsure about doing things, then it's probably a good idea to pack your fears and take that little bit extra just to cover your butt until you know what you're doing. So when I go bike packing now, I don't really take any extra stuff. I know exactly what I need. I've come around the corner to the lake and I see no lake. It must be here somewhere. I reckon it must be over that little brow there, but I'm hoping the lake is here. I'm supposed to be pretty good at navigation. It's kind of my job, and I see no lake. I reckon it'll be just over. It's hidden. It's hidden. Yeah, it'll be there. Right, I think that's my lake. I completely underestimated the distance and so all the way around that headland. Here we go. Right, so tomorrow actually I'm around there, and then there's a path which goes up the side off the top, and I reckon this is the camp spot, because when I was up there you can see you can almost see the broken trail through the grass, and then there's this quite obvious green flat area, and someone's trying to have a fire over there, I think. I mean, it's not bad in terms of wind. The wind is coming over that way. You can see it on the lake. This is not great, but anywhere around there is going to be really exposed. So this is it, really. I think this is it. No one else here. I'm going to get this tent up because I really do think I'm going to get some rain flooding in soon. So stop talking and start doing. Right, so this is the tent. It's the Copper Spur, Big Agnes, what did I call it before? I can't remember. Yeah, Big Agnes Copper Spur Spark. There's some UV2, I think it is. It's the bike packing version, so all it means is got shorter poles, which are 12 inches, I think. Yeah, 12 inches. Yeah, it's nice. I've only had it up once so far, but I'm not going to video me putting it up. It is pretty simple. I say that, but I just need to do it before the rain gets in. I think it's in the right direction. The wind is coming from that way, so I've got it facing into the wind because rather than the sides. I've got the extra 2 guy lines there. I think you can put some extras on as well. I don't know. There's an extra 2 in the bag, but that's it. I'm out of pegs. The pegs are okay, I think. They're not fantastic. I need to sort that one out, get that at the right angle. Yeah, and there we go. Oh, so Trekology. So this is one of the Cedar Summit Etherlight XT, which is a 4-inch pad, which I really like. R value is about 3.6, not awesome, but I do have the winter version of that. And then my Corinthia Defense 1, which is awesome, down to about -5 for comfort, -4, no, +4 I think for comfort. These vestibules are quite good. You got another one on the other side as well. That's pretty big, and then you got a big pocket up here to chuck stuff in. Yeah, and I'm just hoping that that's okay for the wind. So I think the wind's going to be about 20 miles an hour, 20-25, gusts 30 miles an hour, so I'm hoping that'll be okay. It should be. Right, just having a look at the weather. Glad I got here just in time. Stupidly, I didn't check the weather just before I set off, so I checked it last night and thought that'll be fine. And yeah, so I've got, it's 5 o'clock now. At 6 o'clock, 90% chance of some heavy rain, then 60%, 70% chance of thunderstorms through the night up until about 10 o'clock, and then it'll clear and we'll have a clear sky from 11 o'clock tonight. The wind's 32, gusting 39, and that will back off, veer and slack a little bit overnight. I reckon they'll do, but it's turning black and scary out there now. These thunderstorms look like they're coming in, the rain. Got my water. These are great. These not knock. Don't know. Yeah, the bags you get with the Sawyer water filters, had a senior moment there. They're garbage, absolute garbage. platypus are okay, but I find that they're a bit rigid, and I've read reports that they can break up right on the shoulder area, but yeah, those knock things there, knock, they are brilliant. They got some great reviews, and they just apparently just seem to just last and last, so they're ace. I've got my soya filter here. I keep it in a sock because you don't want it to freeze, so it just stays in a sock. I try and keep it on me if it's going to get cold, but it's not going to get cold tonight. It's going to be down at about 14 degrees, but yeah, I can see that cloud. Looks like it's coming down. It don't look nice. My timing has just been perfect to get here. Now, luck rather than judgment, but I think it's going to hold out just fine tonight, but I wouldn't want to go into much more than what we're going to get tonight. And my bug out plan, because the wind is coming this direction, would be everything there into my rucksack and get my bivvy, and I'll be over that hillside, and then I would hunker down there in the bivvy overnight. So that's my plan. If it all goes wrong, but I don't think it will, I think we're going to be good. Just wait for the rain now and get some dinner on. Okay, for the food, I mean, I'm not a big fan of gas, but gas has its place, and the place for gas is tonight, 100%. Yeah, absolutely worth it. Worth taking with a windbreak. And the pots and pans were a present. Soto. This is like a little cozy. You can put it in while it's if you've got food in there. So this one can go into the pot. I think this one's aluminium, which I like. Brilliant. Just don't scratch it. So that's coated. And then inside that, it's got a little lid over there as well. And then inside that goes this. I think that's steel, this one. I think that's titanium. Yeah, it looks like titanium. And then that's got this little collar here, and that just slides into there. And then you've got, well, yeah, a mug that you can put your hot drink in, and you've got a little lid for that as well. So it's a nice little setup. It's a very nice little setup. It's a very cool little gift. Okay, and tonight we're going to get some beef mince hot pot. These adventure foods are pretty good, I think. I've had quite a few of them, but the snag that I had is that my soya is not working at all. Did it freeze one night in the garage? I've got no idea. So I'm a little bit concerned now. So that's my soya frozen up. I do have the other one, the micro, soya micro, not the mini, the micro. I just hope that one works. I haven't got that here with me, but I just hope that hasn't frozen up as well at home. So I'm gonna have to have a look at this and try and work out what the hell's going on. So my only option really now is to boil that water for a good period of time. You know, there is sheep shit and whatever else, but I think as long as I boil it, I'll leave it on a rolling boil for a little bit, a couple of minutes. I think you're going to leave it for 3 minutes, but yeah, a couple of minutes will do, and we'll go with that. Then I'm out of water effectively, so I'm going to need to boil some water tomorrow morning to do me for the rest of the day. I'm really hacked off. That has always been really reliable. I've just always gone to it, and it's just there, worked, and so I'm quite hacked off now. That's quite worrying how that can let you, that one bit of kit can let you down. I always thought it was just going to be reliable. Bugger. Never mind, the rain is starting to come down now. Yeah. Nicer in here, I can just hear it starting. Right. Oh, I'm not a ground dweller.
That was a really uncomfortable night. I think this mat has enough cushioning, but not enough for me. It feels it's the most comfortable mat I've ever slept on, but every time I ground well, my hips get it. That was yeah, I reckon 3, maybe 4 hours sleep. Rain is coming in from 9 o'clock. It's 6:30 now, so I do need to get up, get some breakfast and get out of here. It was actually quite nippy as well last night, but this bag, well, I had it zipped all the way up. It's great, this bag. Comfort of about I think it's about +4 degrees centigrade. And I reckon it must have been down in the sort of 9 degrees centigrade. Anyway, change of plan today. I'm not going to go and sleep on the top because tonight it's just continual, well, it's chance of rain throughout the night, and the wind, and I forgot my tarp, so it's not going to be a bivvy. And even if it was a bivvy, I'm going to be up in the cloud. It's not what I'd envisaged. You know, I got this plan of lying out between the rocks, looking out over a great view, and I was going to pack up, walk back across the tops to have a look, back to the car, and I have a plan F for tonight. Right. Well, that's boiling away for my adventure expedition breakfast. I found out last night what was wrong with my soya squeeze. Apparently, if you leave them in store, if you wash them out, which I washed it out with tap water, importantly, and dried it and wrapped it all up, etc. But what that can do, if all the water dries out of there, it leaves the metals. So if the water's reasonably hard, I think ours is sort of in the middle, then you get metal bits, minerals rather, not metals, minerals that are left inside there, and they clog it all up. Screwed. Not totally screwed. I might be able to get away with this. So if you get vinegar, you soak the whole thing in vinegar, and to clean it all out, and if I then flush it through with distilled water, i.e. no minerals in it, then store it, then it should be okay. So hopefully I can unclog it with some vinegar, and just leave it in there to soak and get it back up and running again. Better that than 45 quid. But there we go. So that's the snag with the soya squeeze. A nice little tip which I found online. Now I know. Right, well, here we are. That's about the view of the lake that I've got. And the mountains, just everything's in cloud. Tent is surviving. I think what I didn't do is tighten up these straps here properly. You tighten these straps up, and all this, you see, this doesn't quite match the pattern. Where these are doesn't quite match the pattern, and I think I could have pulled the tent over this way a little bit more, the rain fly, and then maybe that would have helped. But I mean, it held up, but barely. Yeah, see, I should have put I didn't even think about that one. I didn't notice that one, but I don't have enough pegs. That would have made all the difference, I reckon. Taking some of the weight off the poles. Bugger. Like I say, our second time I've ever used it. I should have. Last time I used it, there was no need for any guy lines or anything like that. So, but it's all right. It held up. Like I say, some of that pole there buckled in the night. You can see it's stressed. That was quite a good track up. I mean, when you're down at the bottom, you look up and you think it looks vertical. It felt vertical, but the path is actually really doable. Just coming up from that lake straight up. I set off on the wrong path, which would have been a big loop out that way, which would have taken me bloody ages.
but that was fairly painless, really. Fairly painless. So pretty much on the top now. I was thinking on my way up that I used to do this as a kid, and I didn't carry anywhere near the same amount of gear. No fast finds, no water filters. You drank the water that you found. You took a little bottle. What did you wear? You took a woolly pulley, some waterproofs, which in those days were just shit waterproofs because they're just sweat buckets. I had a canvas bivvy bag and a really shit sleeping bag, heavy, big sleeping bag. And I used to do this routinely, not routinely, but quite a few times, sort of 16, 17, on my own. And in fact, I remember coming across up in the Brecon Beacons, some guys on selection who were all hunkered down under a tarp. Anyway, that was a while ago. Yeah, so along the top now, and just waiting for the rain because apparently it's coming. So, oh dear. Try not to sweat too much because, well, number one, I don't want to get bloody cold, but I'm also lying on my right hip on that bloody ground dwelling mat. Has done my hip in, so my right hip is struggling a little bit, so I'm just taking it a bit easy, but I'm enjoying being up here. I'm really glad I went for it and didn't take the easy option around the bottom just to tick a box. Right at the top now, there is a really nice shelter someone's built here. That is great. Dry stone wall. That's the top over there, the trig point. Oh, I might sit here, have a rest, wait, see if the cloud clears. I did for a second see where I was camping last night down there, but alas, it is right here. I'm not going too far. It's down there somewhere. I have been thinking, actually, I would bivvy up here, even without a tarp, but it's too early in the day, really. I mean, let's have a look. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock, so this is where the rain is due to start coming in. It's 9 o'clock. I'm not hanging around here all day just so I can bivvy on top of a mountain, and it's going to rain later on, etc, etc. So I might as well carry on down. But I feel pretty good. Luckily, I had my poo this morning. I have to admit, I only dug down about 2 inches. It was thick, but it's way back from the lake, so I headed off out and did that in front of the sheep, who didn't look impressed. No toilet paper left. I hiked that shit back with me. Normally I'd burn it, so if you use toilet paper, yeah, I don't leave it in the hole, I burn it. Burn it in the hole, but it's so much wind today and there wasn't a deep enough hole that I've hiked it out. I always carry a bag for my shit paper. Right, okay, well, I better get going because I don't want to get caught out by this rain. As nice as this little shelter is, and welcome. Okay, so down we go, down this side here. That's where the waterfall is, down that dip, and I'm going back up again, around to the top of that one, and then round the reservoir. That's the reservoir down there. They can just see the workers, and then I'm coming down that hillside back to the car. I feel grim. My face feels grim. I feel sweaty and horrible. I haven't really cleaned myself up for a couple of days now, so apologies. My long johns, which I've got on this morning, are running down my butt. Sorry, I've got to give you all the bits to this video. You can't just have the good bits. Okay, finally made it to the to Light 3. Dropped down off the mountain from that last walk. That was really hard going downhill. I struggle going downhill, I always have. Got in the car, went to Brecon, got some food, came out, and I'm now here. It's 3:30. So this is there is a mountain up there called Pen y Fan. We are south of that mountain, we're on part of a reservoir, and that's the, or it's an old, well, it's dried up reservoir, but that's the dam part of it. So this used to be full up with water, but over the years it's just not anymore. There's a little island over there. They've all got pine trees all the way around, a little island there, and that's the back area. I think the island is the nicest place to go, but you've got to get across there, and there is a river that runs down in there. So while I would love to get over there, actually here I think is quite a nice view. There is a better spot just down there, which is on the bit that sticks out with two big deciduous trees. That would be my ideal spot, but the wind is whistling down this way, and that is going to get whacked by it. I'm not in the best location, I'll be honest, but it's the best I can be bothered with. There you go. And again, the wind is going to be the problem tonight, because I'm going to have the wind coming in from here. That's the superfly. What I really wanted, sorry, that's the mini fly. What I really wanted was the superfly with the big doors on to try and block that in. Yeah, that's not an ideal situation, but if I do want to have a little fire, then I can raise the tarp right up or flip it over and get a fire going there. But there's no wood and it's soaking wet, and I've got my own little wood stash. The doors, all I've done, I've flipped them over each other, and then I've run them down just to hold them in like that, just to try and stop a little bit of the wind getting in the top area. But I think I'm going to get hammered with the wind coming up under here. Yeah, the best option sometimes is to have the wind coming in from the side, but then you've really got to have this taut, and I don't have any pull-outs or anything else. It's just on the mini fly, just those there. So yeah, and then that's just tied up like that. It's on the leeward side, so I'm not too bothered about that. Basically, the rain started hammering down, and I just got it ready as quickly as I could. But I think that will do it for tonight. Hammock wise, Superior Gear hammock, which is ideal for here because it's got the built-in underquilt, and I think they're a brilliant hammock for windy conditions, because there's just no way your underquilt is having any wind get in there. Now, I have had a night before where I've orientated like that and had a howling wind coming down with an underquilt on the war bonnet, and I didn't tuck it up properly, and the wind was just whooping in there, and I woke up halfway through the night, didn't twig what had happened. You know, well, I did in the end, and then went out and fixed it when I went to the toilet. But yeah, with a Superior Gear, you just don't have to bother about that or worry about it. So I'm just going to sit here and have a beer. I've got my monocular, and I've just been looking all the way around here, and I can't see anyone else. And I've camped here before, just on the end there with my two sons, and it looked like you're on there on your own. But then all of a sudden at night you see this fire start over there. There's a massive fire over there. So there was someone in that section over there. You could just see a little red light, really faint, really hard to see, whereas everyone else was blooming obvious. So I'm really hoping the wind calms down. I don't mind the rain too much, and tomorrow morning I would love to get the drone and just fly around here and get some shots. So I'm just gonna sit down, have a beer and chillax for a little bit, because it was a super heavy wild camp carry up here, which I think was 1.5 miles up a gentle climb. So I'm a little bit shattered now. Well, the weather has dropped right down actually. The wind is much better now. So what I've done is try to raise up, and I've done a bit of a hash job, but so sticking there, that'll lift that up just that little bit, peg down to there, and then I've got the same here, and that runs down to around a rock, and the rock I've jammed in there with another rock, so he can't go anywhere. And then we've got the hammock in there, all mighty fine. So this is new to the hammock. Well, I haven't used this yet, which is the wind protector. Although I'm not really sure you need a wind protector so much, because I don't really think any wind's going to get under there. But for me, it protects it from little bits, anything from a fire that spits up. It'll hit this and melt this and stop at this, and it'll just help protect that underquilt that little bit more. And I'm just going to leave it on, and it just clips on there, which goes really nicely. it's not really, you know, a bit of splashing from the wind. You know, if the wind and rain does drive in here, it just helps keep everything that little bit tidier, a little bit more weight. But I'm happy. This is my winter setup, or one of my winter setups, this and the war bonnet. I'm more than happy with it. But yeah, all set up, ready to go now. I'm just going to sit here and chill for a little bit more, and I'll maybe have another beer and then start thinking about getting the food on. Okay, this is what it should look like, raising it up the top or something like that. Just gives you a really lovely view, and this is how you should wake up in the morning. This is how I want to wake up in the morning, looking at wildlife, kinda wildlife, and a fantastic view, and hopefully a blue sky. But I don't think I'm gonna be that lucky, but there we go. Right, so that's where the firebox is going to go, and I'll get my food on. Absolutely cheating tonight. Got 2 firelighters, or they're for basic fuel bricks for a solid fuel. 2 of them. I'm just chucking power at the problem. I can't be bothered with any fiddly stuff. I don't do much of the fiddly stuff. I'm not a very good bushcrafter. I'm not a bushcrafter, I'm a wild camper. So I'm trying to make things as simple as possible. Right, where I had it before, it was a little bit too close to my tarp and the hammock. So pulled it out here with much craziness and panicking. Oh, I'll tell you what, these are, hey, these are a bit spicy. That cheese is kicking, brilliant. Burgers are becoming my new favourite. They're just so simple if you're wild camping. So yeah, cheers. For the night. It is lovely and snug in here. I've still got the tarp up, but I'm going to take it on risk, and if in the middle of the night I need to, I've got my head torch. There we go, all ready to go, and we can deal with it. But the rain is just starting to come down now. I'm going to lie here and watch and listen for a little bit, and then I'll watch a film. Anyway, I'll see you in the morning. Great little view to wake up to. Rain all night, really comfy. This hammock's certainly narrower than the war bonnet. The war bonnet, you feel it's more luxurious, it's wider. This thing doesn't pinch my shoulders, but it certainly is narrower. But very cozy and warm. I mean, I could just almost feel the heat rising up through. That's the video done. 3 days, I bloody stink. I must look a right state. But hammock last night, I love the hammock, so comfortable. In the rain, I just lovely and warm. The hammock's amazing. And the tent, well, the tent is great for sorting all your gear out and just living like that, but it's not comfortable for me personally. I do not get on ground dwelling. I find that very uncomfortable. So first night in that torrential rain in the car, sleeping in the car. I need to learn how to sleep in the car properly. That setup is awful, but I love the idea. And the view there, I love that place, Limbrian Reservoir, beautiful. And then the hike, I really enjoy the hike. I enjoyed being in the tent and just playing with gear and setting it up, etc., learning from it. Tent was brilliant. I think it held up really well, but I just can't sleep, and so sleeping on my sides just did my hips in. And then for the first hour of that walk, I was in a bit of pain, but then I loved the walk along the top. Really loved that. Really tough going downhill. I'm terrible going downhill. And yeah, and then last night, a mile and a half walk up, and just I really enjoyed last night. Love that hammock. And now back. So anyway, more videos to come, I'm sure. Take care.